Hello and welcome to the Patriot and Television Nigerian. Patriotism is the love of one's country. True patriots love their country enough to fly their country's flag. Welcome to the Patriot, a platform where we discuss issues of national importance affecting the sovereignty and love of a great nation, Nigeria. Welcome on board, I'm Peggy Shanley. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria calls obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain, to serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity. These are the 7 lines of the first stanza of the Nigerian national anthem. We'll introduce our guests just right after this break.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country. So goes the opening lines of the 6-line national pledge of Nigeria. Today, not a few, whether young or old, merely recite the national pledge as a matter of routine or tradition, with their hearts being poles apart from the very spirit, creed, and essence of the pledge. Many simply do not understand its purport or feel the import of it, while many others choose to observe the pledge and preach only. Today we have decided to walk on the footpath of the very words of the national pledge, keeping its vision and essence in our hearts, in our souls, and in our minds.
I pledge
Nigeria,
my country,
to be faithful,
loyal, and honest,
to serve Nigeria with all my strength,
to defend her unity,
and uphold her honor and glory.
So help me God. Nigeria, no doubt, will truly be the giant of Africa, developed and well rated in all indices, if her national pledge is treated with sacred obedience. It's on us, it's our duty and responsibility to make this country a better place. Let's live the pledge.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. This is the Patriot and Television Nigerian. I have 2 guests, Chris Zion, a media expert analyst, and Mercy Joe, a presenter and the host, Daybreak Africa. Welcome both of you to the Patriot.
Thanks for having me.
Today, our focus on this episode of the Patriot, having 2 guests, Mercy Joe and Zion, is to focus on the Madagascar's call to other African nations to pull out of the World Health Organization. This call is informed by the decision of the World Health Organization not to endorse the COVID organic CVO, given claims that it has not been scientifically proven and safe to be used. Well, we're going to delve into discussion right now. Thank you very much. Please, Mr. Joe. You are very much aware, it's no longer news right now that Madagascar is also part of Africa.
Yes.
One of the nations in the Indian Ocean. It's a very, very, very serious war right now going on, you know.
With the vaccine.
With the vaccines, you know.
And countries.
With countries.
Nigeria said they didn't ask for the vaccine to come into the country.
Very well.
Madagascar donated the vaccine to them. And then lots of under noise that they are asking for a particular sum of amount after giving them this cure. And then Madagascar is still coming out to say, to pull out of the WHO and asking other African nations to pull out as well from the WHO. I should say this at this point in time. Now is not the time for chaos, because this will cause unnecessary chaos, to be frank. Telling other African countries, if you have pulled out, I see no reason why you should say other African countries should pull out of the WHO. Now, lots of noise and people say, why would WHO not recommend the vaccine for people to use? They haven't gone through due process yet. They have come out to say they have a cure, fine and good. But even here in Nigeria, we are still undergoing the normal trial stage to know how effective this cure is going to be. So we do not know, and we cannot say for sure yet if it's actually a cure that will still work for Nigerians or other African countries.
Well, that's a beautiful one. I'm very concerned about. The fact that Nigeria, we've just sung the first stanza of the national anthem.
Yes.
I'm sure you did that when you were in school.
Yeah, everyone did.
Every
that.
one of us
Yes.
did. Mr. Zion, did you?
Yeah, sure.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You sang the first and the second stanzas?
Of course.
And you were shouting all over the places and saying that, arise, O Kampala, we're still arising.
Yeah.
Madagascar has just arisen. And Nigeria is the giant of Africa.
Yes.
And the most populous nation
In Africa.
Yeah.
in the black race.
Yes.
I mean, one shouldn't begin to compare the fact that Nigeria is the giant of Africa in the case of Covid-19, in the case of pandemic. Regardless of if Nigeria is the giant.
We are talking about patriotism right now.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. I want to go to Mr. Chris Zion.
Yes.
You have been a media expert from installation down to presentation and to stuff.
Yes.
I've heard about you.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Now, the giant of Africa, Nigeria,
Yes.
could not produce one single vaccine. It's still going through clinical services. Madagascar from nowhere just came over.
Yes.
The question is, are we patriotic, or is Madagascar patriotic for Africa? I want you to compare the notes. Madagascar from the back
Yes.
has come
Yes. Okay.
to take over, ideally in quote, if you want to say, the position of Nigeria as the giant. Should have been giant in the fight.
Yes, you've said it all. Nigeria as the giant of Africa, as we have always been known as the giant of Africa. For me, if you had asked me, Nigeria should be at the forefront of charting the way for other African countries.
Yeah.
Like Nigeria is the giant of Africa,
Yeah.
so Nigeria should set example for other African countries to follow.
Yeah.
Now we have a situation, and a country like Madagascar, which is not even half of Nigeria, is coming out with a solution. And will we still call ourselves giants of Africa? If we talk about patriotism, I think patriotism is about one's love for his or her own country or people. And Madagascar, to a large extent, have shown that. For me, that is patriotism, providing solutions to problems. We are faced with a situation now, and Madagascar have come out with a solution to this problem. Should we wait for any validation while our people are dying? I mean, to me, it makes no sense that we are bearing the name Giant of Africa and we are not taking the center stage.
Mr. Joe, thank you very much, Chris Zion. You mentioned something about validation.
Validation.
Yes.
Because I heard Mr. Joe mention the fact that on the issue of COVID-19,
Yes.
we should not mention Nigeria, to it. And of course, I'm sure she preempted me. She thought I actually was trying to come to the point of... now, what is it that you're saying? Do you know, what do you have to say concerning the
Validation.
the validation. What do you know about it?
Okay, talking about validation on the part of Nigerians to be sure that the COVID organic cure coming from Madagascar is really going to work for Nigerians. Like I say, we are trying to do a comparison between the immune system in Africa and the immune system of the European country.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about validation. Are you trying to say that this cure shouldn't undergo due process before even deeming it fit enough to give to our Nigerians?
Well, what I'm saying here is we should put the life of, when we are talking about patriotism, the life of our citizens should come first. We should put the people first. When you're talking about patriotism is about putting the people first.
But how does patriotism exactly play out in this role of the government actually making sure that this COVID organic goes through due process, due trials?
Well,
First of all,
it has been tried.
in
They tried it-
Nigeria,
they
it's
tried
not
it.
completely trial
But
yet.
Madagascar is Africa.
Madagascar is Africa. They did the
Yes.
trial in their own country. You see, this is the chaos and the problem that's happening between the WHO, Madagascar, and other African countries right now.
You know what? I suspect something fishy because Africa is gradually becoming like a dumping ground for the Western world. Because everything we do, we always seek validation.
Okay, hold on a minute. I'm observing in the discussion very keenly that you are talking against, and she's sounding like she's talking for. Well, that's very deep. And then I'm going to anchor this program asking you very specific questions.
Okay.
You are still talking about the validation. Now, you talked about the processes. He's talking about putting the country first, the citizens first. Both of you are talking very correctly. And our viewers are also watching us. And they're going to be dropping comments as a matter of fact. But I'm asking you right now, what if the processes takes a longer time and the citizens now for which those processes are meant for are no longer going to live to experience the joy or the love or the use of that process? And on your part, you're going to answer. When you're done, I will now give it to him so that he can answer. And so you are talking about the citizens.
Yes.
Now you tell us how Nigeria has done for its citizens. And of course, receiving gifts and then just receiving gifts. Madagascar will produce and come and give Nigeria. Nigeria will receive, say, we didn't ask for. So what you didn't ask for, you should have thrown them out. Tell us something about the processes. If it takes a longer time.
Well, thank you very much for that question. I think by now we all understand and see the figures of the recoveries so far in Nigeria, regardless of the COVID cure from Madagascar. Before even the cure came out from Madagascar, we've been having quite a number of recoveries. I mean, this morning on the program, Daybreak Africa, we were talking about the cases in Nigeria. About 97% of the case of coronavirus cases in Nigeria are active and responding to treatment. We just have about 3% fatality cases of people that have died of the virus. We have more recoveries recorded in the country, and we're still going to have more recoveries over time. So irrespective of Madagascar's cure actually coming in place, Nigeria is already doing something right. Nigeria is already doing its own trials. Now, Raymond Dokpesi Jr., he recovered from the virus, and he had a sit in the media house, and he talked about what he felt and how he felt. And he recovered within 5 days. That's impressive coming from Nigeria. We do not have a cure for say. So I don't see it as a situation that the process of going through the trial to know if it's really going to be something that will work for Nigeria. I don't see it as saying, as that is going on, how many Nigerians? No, Nigeria was already getting something right.
Thank you.
Even before Madagascar's cure.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Nigeria has been getting something right.
Yes.
To have the recoveries and the data. Thank you very much, Grace Space.
Yes. So if let's use a family now as an example. if you have a problem in your family, and one of your son, one of your child brings a solution to that problem, would you now wait for someone to validate that solution before you apply it
To your own family?
to your own family?
But definitely you
No,
think
hold
it
on,
through.
hold on.
When
Hold on.
do you have to go through a very long process to wait till someone tells you that this is this is
solution.
what you should do?
In this case now,
Yes.
who are those validating? Is there a body? Is there an organization that wants to okay it?
Yes.
In this case, Madagascar now.
Yes.
Madagascar, we are much aware that Madagascar has produced the CVO, the COVID organic.
Yes.
And World Health Organization is saying no to it.
I suspect something there.
Yes. So that's the family example that you've just given to us now.
Yes.
Now, World Health Organization says, Madagascar, hold on. We're waiting until we will give you the approval because it has not gotten through clinical.
I don't think that's right.
Yes.
I don't think
Why?
that is right because we are the ones facing the problem. And we have come up with a solution for our own problem. Then why should we wait for someone else to tell us what to do?
Are you thinking that these people, they may have some criminal undertone to why they're trying to?
If you would ask me, I think there is I would say that there is a hidden agenda, yes. Because in every situation, in every problem, there must be, or there is someone out there, somewhere, who is benefiting from the whole situation. Because this is not the first time we've had issues we've had health issues, and there are Nigerians that have made efforts to come up with solutions to that. But each time they bring up such solutions, it's been put down by the World Health Organization. Why?
Now are you saying, Mr. Chris?
I can give you example of people like Maurice Iwu. Yes, in the case of is it Ebola now or
Yes, Ebola, yes.
Yes.
No, even the coronavirus.
Even the coronavirus,
first
yes.
time. But the thing is that NAFDAC.
No, what did he do? What did he do?
He,
What did he do?
He came up with is it a vaccine now or something to?
Yes, he came up with the formula. Yes, it was
Yes.
on news.
He came with a formula. That
Yes,
was the
a formula.
first time of coronavirus in
Yes.
Nigeria. And he asked the federal government to come in so that.
And so what happened to the federal government
I
coming
think
in?
It was something suppressed. Let's just
Is
put
it
it
something-
that way. We didn't hear it anymore.
So is that patriotism? What are we talking about? Is that patriotism? If patriotism should be about one's love for his country, and you are faced with a problem, and the solution is coming from within, and you're saying no, looking for someone to come and
So
tell you.
indigenous people in Nigeria,
Yes,
Professor Maurice Iwu
yes,
came up with a solution as patriotic from Nigeria. Now we are talking about how Africa has shaken the world now and leading the revolution of the COVID-19. It looks like America is finding it very difficult to actually come up with some kind of vaccines and come to a solution. I heard that they have also sent a lot of money to the Madagascar government to produce, and so they can do more of the research.
Well, I think
So don't you think that Madagascar is taking Africa to the global map?
Sure, it is, and that is patriotism.
You're going to answer that. I'm giving you 3-4 minutes, and then I'm going to give her also 4 minutes so that you can. I want to know. Then we're going to take on a short break after the answers. We'll take a short break, and then we'll come back, and then we'll close. Okay? Yeah. Don't you think?
Yes, I think Madagascar has done well by putting Africa on the center stage. But the problem here is, are we really doing anything to support our very own? Are we doing anything?
Just like they didn't support
Yes.
you.
They didn't support you.
Maybe he ran to Madagascar to go and meet them in Madagascar to tell them, to sell them the idea, because we didn't know what happened to Iwus.
Madagascar is giving us this cure for free. They are giving us to try it out. But
Have they tried it? Mr. Joe, please.
The thing is, you know,
Could it be that Maurice Iwu ran away with this program, to Madagascar and sold it to them, maybe because the government did nothing?
Well, I think I'm a person of Messenger, I'm not a person of evil, so I wouldn't know. But the thing is that ordinarily people are not seeing it beyond what we are seeing it right now. In every medical field or every medical researcher, you have every process of cure or vaccine or medication have to go through due trials. People, you can't just say Madagascar gave this country this drug and they just start administering it on people. Now, this same Madagascar, you see, we fail to see beyond the statistics. They have given us statistics before now that even when they used this COVID organic cure for their people in Madagascar, about, let's say, probably out of 100%, probably 70% of them recover. Now, what happened to the remaining 30% of the cases that didn't recover with their same supposed COVID organic cure? And let's not also forget that they have now recorded their first death in Madagascar. Ordinarily, one would have assumed that since they have provided a cure, it should be that they shouldn't have expected any death, except they tell us that it was a later case and nothing would have been done. Yeah. Now, WHO, probably we're getting everything twisted. The thing is that these are herbal remedies that are being provided. I think all these bodies are used to the conventional orthodox and treatment for all of this. So even if they're going to say they're going to give an okay to the Madagascar cure, they have to go through process. They can't just say, okay, because Madagascar got a cure, they should. Over time, we should realize that Africa has had its own lapses and people in the foreign world trying to believe what Africans says or put to the table. Corruption is the order of the day in Africa. So we should look upon these factors that probably that's what other people are looking at, basically. The thing is that Nigeria accepted this. So it means we are already supporting Madagascar for even accepting the cure and now even going through trial with it. It means we accept it. In our Nigerian newspaper, Madagascar is making headlines. So it means we're still supporting our dear African countries. We're still showing patriotism to them. Tanzania also asked for this Madagascar cure. So regardless of this, I don't see it as a way that we are not showing patriotism, we are not trying to encourage Madagascar or what have you. We are trying to, but we have to play safe. Imagine they get this cure and they start putting it to treat Nigerians that have the viruses.
And then 70% only get cured and the 30% are just busy dying.
No, ironically, imagine just 30% of them actually getting cured and 70% of them now actually dying of the virus instead. We have to say it that way. You can't just pick something up. It's just like telling your child to go out now and then if a stranger gives the child food because he's hungry, he should just eat it up like that. No, it's not done that way. We have to go through a due process, and until that due process is corrected, is completed, we cannot just administer this drug on our Nigerian citizens. We already haven't recovered, so we thank God for that.
Okay, so let me just tell Mr. Chris, did you hear her when she said that one death has occurred in Madagascar? They have registered one death.
Yes.
Okay, in spite of the availability of their herbs, of the CVO that they themselves, have produced. That's the Madagascan cure.
Yes. Well, I would say, in spite of the availability of the cure, that is not to say everybody is going to survive.
So somebody must die?
Yes. Like the HIV virus now. People are still dying in spite of the antiretroviral drugs, people are still dying. So they just recorded one case of death.
So that's not a problem.
I don't think that is too bad.
If that death can actually bring solution and take the whole of Africa to the global map, and then there is now making headlines in the news everywhere that Madagascar can cure. Madagascar can cure. Nigeria is also begging for, or is it begging or what? Did Nigerians actually beg for, or they just came and donated?
They donated.
Okay, it was Tanzania that actually asked for.
It was donated to Nigeria.
All right, okay, we're going to take a very short break, okay? We're going to take a very short break, and we'll come back to discuss two things.
All right.
We want to discuss what WHO is all about, and what are the things they do, and why President Trump is against them. We'll also deal with the issue of whether Nigerians or Nigeria is still
The giant of Africa.
not really moving away from the giant of Africa. Are we still independent, or we are still not independent? Please, we'll take a very short break, and when we return, very quickly, to deal with this other very important aspect of this discussion, whether Nigeria is still independent, or who is WHO and what is the antics. Please, we're back.
Coronavirus no be our friend, yo. Make we push am comot, yo. Corona, he no be our friend, yo. Say make we push am comot, yo. My country people, you see this coronavirus no be joke. Make we help ourselves and our government pursue this yamayama sickness from our country. Make we remember to wash our hand every time with soap and water. Make we no forget to sanitize our hand and wear face mask when we dey come out. Also, make we avoid crowd and keep social distancing when we come out. My people, if you see say you don't dey get symptoms, make you rush go hospital make dem treat you. Coronavirus no be our friend though. Make we remember say prevention better pass cure. Coronavirus no be our friend though. Make we push am comot, yo. Corona, he no be our friend. Say make we push am comot, yo.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. This is the Patriot and Television Nigerian. And just before the break, is Nigeria independent? I begin with you.
Okay. If you ask me, I would say Nigeria is not totally independent, because if you take a look at most of the decisions made by our government here, they still seek for validation from the Western world to a very large extent. If we are independent, why are we always borrowing money from countries like China and America? Can you imagine, with all the Abacha loot these people are recovering from all these countries, they still go, you will hear about one Abacha loot that they just recovered, the next time or the next day they are borrowing money again. When are we going to finish paying all this debt? How can you say you are independent when you're always collecting debt?
And Abacha loot is coming.
Yes, you can't say you're independent when you're always in debt.
Oh, so they are collecting more loans, Nigeria is still borrowing.
And we are not seeing we are not seeing what all these monies are being used for.
Is that why we are not independent? Depending
Absolutely.
on foreign help.
We always depend on aid. We depend on countries to send us aid.
And we have a lot of oil, and we have also gotten a lot of money.
In spite of
to the extent that even Abacha looted from here. He didn't go and loot from another country to this place.
In spite
he
of
took the monies from here, and then they're recovering it.
In spite of
several years ago that he has died. Mr. Joe, please, you have something to say.
Well, irrespective of the fact that lots of decisions being made in Nigeria is influenced by foreign bodies, the government looking outward. Like when we talked about the infectious disease bill, I think they say it was a borrowed bill from the abroad that they brought to Nigeria. Even the there's this person's report that they are now looking into. They say they have been borrowed. But irrespective of all this, I still say and stand out to say Nigeria is really independent. Talking about debt, there's no nation that is not in debt. Regardless, it just depends on the percentages of debt. Nigeria, I think when they were talking about countries in debt, Nigeria fell into the case of like our debt level was really very low compared to some countries that you know. That's really the fact. You know, you deal with facts before we actually talk about all of this. Nigeria is in debt, other countries are in debt, even the US is in debt, China itself is in debt. So regardless of all that, you cannot use that to categorize.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, but I want you to finally now, I'll begin with you this time and then end on you. Please, World Health Organization, this is becoming very interesting. I like this discussion. Yeah, and Mr. Chris is doing justice to making sure that Nigeria must be patriotic. And Mr. Joe is already talking about Nigeria is already patriotic. But World Health Organization are funded by the United States. President Trump, the president of United States, he's having very big issues with the WHO right now, and is moving away his funding and has sent monies right to the Madagascan government without the WHO. Well, what do you think about the politics that he mentioned earlier? Don't you think somebody is somewhere trying to do something?
It's no longer news that President Donald Trump is a controversial president, one of the most controversial presidents that we have witnessed in our time. The thing is that, you know, he had the problem with WHO trying to point at them hiding whatever was the genuine cause of the outbreak of the pandemic from China. That was where the whole chaos began from. But we cannot say categorically clear his own personal grudges with WHO. Now, he given funds to bypassing WHO to give funds to Madagascar because of their cure. No,
they said there's this powerful computer guru, the word billionaire. You know his name?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates has a hand in the WHO vaccine production and everything. So please talk about that too. And maybe that's why maybe Trump is not completely comfortable with him.
There are lots of talks about the Bill Gates, when Bill Gates came out to talk about a vaccine, and there were talks about him starting the trial from Africa, and lots of noise was made from that. And why should I think that's where it comes in, where you said it looks like Africa is a dumping ground. Yes, so they're bringing in this vaccine. Bill Gates wants to. Why don't he start from even his own community? Why starting from Africa? And Donald Trump, in a way, somehow, most Africans are kind of applauding him because of the way he has pictured Madagascar. If Madagascar can get the cure, so he is now saying, why not support these people getting the cure? Why should WHO still insist that they go through trial or saying a no-no to this cure?
While people are busy dying.
And people are dying.
Mr. Chris, please, can you tell me something about Donald Trump beginning to fight?
Yes.
Donald Trump beginning to fight WHO.
I think Donald Trump is taking the right step in the right direction, because we're talking about people's lives here, and he is more concerned about the lives of his people. I can't go out, I can't just be giving out monies, funding an organization that is supposed to that is supposed to be responsible for finding a cure to a sickness that is killing my people, while they are not doing anything about it. My people are the worst hit. My people keep dying. Let me ask you, if you were in his shoes, will you do same? Will you keep rolling out money to these guys?
So it means the WHO, there's something funny they're doing that is not for the people.
There's something they are not telling us.
I think we can discuss that in the next episode. We're going to come back here again to dissect who are the WHO. In the first place, WHO means who. Who are you who? Thank you very much. This is enough we can take on this episode of the program. It's been wonderful having Mr. Joe and Chris on this program. Join us again with another very interesting engagement. It's been wonderful having you to watch many things. This is Patriot Nigeria.